philosophy is everyone's got to be ready to play. If a player goes out there and he's like, well, I have X amount of plays, I just don't want that type of mentality. I think that helps, in my opinion, with player safety, being prepared to play like that.
Jaguars football is on the air. This is the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey have all the news and information you need to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, Geico, Ticket Exchange, and by TIAA Bank. Now to get things started, here are Mike Dempsey and JP Shadrick.
Preseason week 4 in the National Football League. Players on the roster bubble get their last chance to put something on film, if not for the Jags, for 31 other National Football League teams as roster cuts are looming. Welcome into the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey. We're at the HannahneAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The Jags and the Buccaneers tonight, a 7:30 kickoff time down at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Preseason week 4. Everybody in the league gets it done tonight. You won't see many starters, not only for the Jags, but around the league tonight as the bottom guys on the roster, the bubble guys, if you will, get their final opportunity.
Yeah, they do, JP. And for them, it's like the Super Bowl. Honestly, could be the most important game in the career of some of these players, whether they make it here on the 53-man roster, whether they get picked up by another team, or whether they pass through waivers and the Jaguars bring them back on the practice squad. Guys are playing for their football lives. There will be players in this game tonight on both sides that will never step on a professional football field again. There will be others who maybe catch the eye of their coach and do that last little thing to make the active roster go into the season, and who knows where the story can go from there.
Plenty to get to today ahead of this 7:30 kickoff tonight. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers host the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get to the top stories today, starting with head coach Doug Marrone. He hates the end of this week. As he said this week, he was a player cut 6 times in the National Football League, and he can relate to what guys on the roster bubble are going through this week especially.
Every time this week comes up every year for me, it's just hard because – I've been one of those guys that's been cut a bunch of times. I kind of look back on how I felt as a guy that, I felt like I did everything that, busted your butt like a lot of guys on this team did. And, I just remember playing in the last game and going to bed that night and thinking to myself, when I walk into that building, within 5 to 10, 15 minutes, my whole life's going to change, whether one way or the other. Whether you make it, I was able to do that, but most of the time I didn't.
Yeah, there's Doug Marrone there, and he makes it a point to, when he has to make these cuts, or when they're announced later in the week, to sit down with each guy one-on-one, at least for a minute or two. It may not be a big, long meeting or a big explanation of what happened, but that player will remember that interaction for the rest of his life. You don't get that interaction all the time with a head coach. It's usually in a bigger group setting. So the one-on-one across from a coach, that's a big deal.
Well, yeah, look, obviously not every coach has been in the position Doug Marrone's been in. Some of them didn't play in the National Football League at all, and others were star players. So he has that empathy, I think, for these guys. They may not appreciate it in the moment, because it is a devastating blow, no matter how softly it's delivered to you. But you're right. I think down the line they'll respect the way Doug Marrone approaches it, and he, it's a tough position. As we say, all the glory is going to go to the 53 men on this roster, and the other 37 are going to be left looking for work.
And a lot of those guys get their last opportunity tonight. And pretty good perspective on what these guys are going through with All-Pro left guard Andrew Norwell this week. Remember, Norwell entered the league as an undrafted player out of Ohio State. And, of course, now he's among the highest-paid offensive linemen in football. It all started with an opportunity in the final preseason game of his rookie year. And Norwell this week gave some advice on how to handle this week as a young player.
Just one advice I'll give the rookies is just to make the most of the opportunity you have now, because opportunities don't last a lifetime. You got to just focus on yourself, you can control what you can control, and just go out and have fun and play football, because at the end of the day, it's just football and you're just playing the game.
Yeah, it's out there. It's a game. It's the last chance to show some things. And we'll hear more from Norwell coming up about the build-up to his final preseason opportunity, his rookie year as well. Some really good stuff from Norwell. A guy who doesn't really talk a lot, but he kind of opened up a little bit in this regard.
You bring out the best in it.
I don't know about that, but he has some really good stories to tell about his rookie year because he's been through it too. An undrafted guy, he wasn't sure what he was going to be in Carolina, and then some injuries happened once he made the roster, and the rest is history.
He said he can be an inspiration for these guys trying to make the team. The coaching staff, I'm sure, I would hope, would point to him and say, look, this is an example of what you can do through hard work. Here's an undrafted guy who turned himself into arguably the best guard in the league, at least for last season, was a first-team All-Pro and got rewarded as such. And for a brief period of time before Zach Martin got his deal, was the highest-paid guard in the league. I think he's okay being the second highest-paid guard in the league, is my guess, coming from the roots that he did.
Business is booming for Andrew Norwell.
No doubt.
Quite okay. From a guy who went through it to someone going through it now. Tony Adams is an undrafted rookie center out of North Carolina State. And on a group the Jags are confident in, it might not be the best numbers game for him to make the roster, but he knows he just can't worry about it this week.
As a rookie, you just don't know. That's one of the things that you especially coming in as an undrafted free agent, it's one of those things you just don't know. So everybody tells me, and something that I've been able to do is just to keep your head down and just keep chugging. No matter what, don't think about the outside or just be in the now. Always just be where your feet are. And that's something that's been able to help me through this process. Undrafted
guy in here. They have Tyler Shatley as the backup center here right now, and the last few years especially. And, there's not a lot of room there at this position, but, it's a guy who has a chance to do, like we said, put something on film.
Right. I mean, I think it's going to be very tough for Tony Adams to make this team, at least, the 53-man roster aspect. But, JP, look around the National Football League. How many teams are comfortable with the state of their offensive line? Certainly not comfortable with the state of their too-deep depth chart on the offensive line around the National Football League. So, look, if you could play on the line, even if your numbers game doesn't work with the team that you originally signed with, somebody's going to give you an opportunity.
And if not now, then maybe a month or so from now.
Sure.
Injuries can pile up. Things can happen in an instant in the NFL. Special teams, though, is how many players stick on NFL rosters at the beginning of their careers. And special teams ace Laurenti McCray knows it well. He was an undrafted player coming out of Florida when he started his career, and he's now in his 6th NFL season. The final game of the preseason, especially for special teams hopefuls, is huge, according to McCray.
It's real important. I mean, you're fighting for your livelihood, as a player, as wanting to be a Jaguar, as wanting to be a NFL player. At some point in your career, you just have to buckle down and make the most of your opportunity. You got to play every play, you know what I mean, because this is pretty much your resume going into the league. If you don't make this team, then you can make another team. If you go out and perform and do the things that you need to do and you show the qualities that it takes to be an NFL athlete as far as special teams, defense, offense, no matter what position, if you go out and fulfill your opportunity, then you'll definitely be somewhere in the NFL.
Core 4 guy there. I mean, and they've got they've dedicated themselves to bringing in veteran players to play on special teams here. Cody Davis is one of those guys. Of course, Laurenti McCray right there the last couple of years can play all the teams, can play some defensive end, can play some linebacker in a pinch if he needs to. So the more you can do here, I think, is the rule for a lot of these guys. And over the years, you build up the skill sets and all that. But a lot of it starts with being able to run down, cover, and play teams.
That's how you get your foot in the door. I think Laurenti McCray, just watching in this offseason in OTAs and training camp, I think he can play a little bit. I think, look, obviously you have frontline guys for a reason, but I think he can help this football team in a pinch, like you said, JP, whether it's strong side linebacker backing up on the right side of the defensive line. I've seen him flash in both regards in practice. Not enough that you'd want to count on him every week necessarily as a starter, but that's why he is a guy, when you say core 4, he's on the return and the coverage teams for punt and kick returns, and that's what we refer to when we're talking about the core 4 team. So he's a great example, for these guys like Cody Davis. Hey, you can come into this team. They're looking for guys who are specialists. When Niles Paul signed with the Jags, he said, look, guys, I'm coming here to play special teams. If I could contribute on offense, that's fine, but they brought me in here for a specific reason.
And Cody Davis understands that there are starting safeties on this football team already, and he wasn't going to crack that starting lineup. So that's the way to make this football team. As we all know, Marquise Lee is out for the year after the knee injury he suffered last week. Reaction in the locker room to it earlier from Dante Moncrief, who's now the veteran of this room, at least on the active roster. It was shocking to see Marquise Lee like that.
Just the guy that he is, how he always smiles, he always high energy. Just seeing him like that and that situation, it hurt. Watching him like that, man. Like I said, this is my first year here with him, but, man, we built a close relationship.
An emotional time, obviously, on the field last week. Guys reacting to what Marquise means to this team, this organization. He's out for the year, obviously, with a knee injury, and they've got to move on. As we talked about, though, Mike, if it happened like last year, the first week of the regular season, you don't really have a lot of time to figure out on the roster what you're going to do. At least the silver lining, the small silver lining in this is that you have a week or two to figure it out. You one more preseason game, you can work some numbers and make things happen.
Right. You may end up keeping another guy that you would have released, or maybe you keep one less body at the wide receiver position, or maybe a team releases a player that if Marquise Lee had been healthy, you would have had zero interest in, and all of a sudden you say, you know what, let's bring him in for a look-see. So, look, it's never a good time to lose a starter or any player for the season due to injury, and I think part of the reaction from these guys has to be just being human. They realize it could happen to them on any play too. It's kind of a brotherhood, it's you play wide receiver, you come across the middle. I know he's kind of running up the hash on that play. You're going to take some big hits, high, low, or otherwise, and the whole season can be gone in the blink of an eye.
Those are some of today's top stories ahead of the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. A 7:30 kickoff time tonight at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Let's go around the National Football League preseason week 4 and some money flying around the NFL these days too.
Big money, JP. Big money. First of all, every team in action tonight in the preseason. So in the division, the Colts will be at the Bengals. The Texans will host the Cowboys, and the Titans host the Vikings. Meanwhile, speaking of that big money, the Green Bay Packers, the quarterback Aaron Rodgers, agreed to terms on a 4-year, $134 million extension. Rodgers getting a record $57.5 million signing bonus. He'll reportedly earn more than $80 million by next March. He previously had signed a $110 million 5-year extension back in 2013. He was set to enter the regular season with 2 years left on that deal. Obviously, the Pack wanted to get him locked up long term. The saga of where Teddy Bridgewater will end up has come to a close with the Jets trading the backup quarterback to the Saints yesterday. They add a 6th-round pick in the deal, and they get back a 3rd-rounder from New Orleans in 2019. And, of course, here locally in a piece that's set to come out in ESPN, the magazine, that came out on their website today, Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey had more of his always entertaining player critiques to pass along regarding wide receiver Danny Amendola. Jalen said, he just got a brand-new contract, and he is terrible. People think he's so great. No, he's not. Tom Brady made him look good. Tom could take me as a receiver, and I'd be a first-team All-Pro. Also said that Rob Gronkowski is good, not great, as he's made out to be, particularly when matched up with cornerbacks. Coincidentally enough, Jags will host the New England Patriots in the home opener on the 16th of September, so maybe Jalen gets a chance to put that theory to the test and match up some one-on-one time with the Gronkowski.
But, for Jalen and all his criticism of other players and all that, he has at least done some research into at least this one on Gronk, the statistical analysis going into that game of corners covering Gronk against linebackers covering Gronk.
There's no question. Now, the question is, how many corners cover Gronk, right? And who are these corners? Right. One of the most successful guys we've seen over the years has been Aqib Talib. Out in Denver, they would match him up one-on-one with Gronkowski. Not many corners are built to be able to do that.
That's right.
Aqib Talib had some success against him doing that. Jalen is built in that mold. He's a big physical guy who also has all the quickness and speed. I would love to see that matchup develop during week 2. Wouldn't you? Come on, who doesn't want to see that?
Can we mic up Jalen that week too?
Hey, let's mic him up every week. Let's just mic him up, period, for the next several years.
There you have it, a look around the National Football League. We're just getting started on the Publix Tailgate Show. We'll return with First Rounds on Us, Jeff Lageman and Tony Baselli. They'll join us from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa with a game preview. The Jags and the Buccaneers at 7:30 in Tampa. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
Jags fans, your TIAA Bank checking or money market account could be your ticket to London this October through the TIAA Bank London Getaway. One lucky winner and a guest will receive round-trip airfare, hotel, and tickets to see the Jags at Wembley. To enter in for official rules, visit TIAABank.com/London today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents within the United States and DC 18 or older. Void where prohibited. Entry period from July 7 to August 17. For official rules, how to enter without bank deposit, to opt out, and for complete details, visit TIAABank.com/London or a TIAA Bank location. Sponsor TIAA Bank, a division of TIAA FSB, member FDIC.
Jaguars fans, Ashley Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashley Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashley Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we were.
This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
He scored!
This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Looking for a more comfortable way to camp or tailgate at Jags games? Visit Campers Inn RV for their integrity pricing guarantee. With their open and honest buying process, you'll never pay more for freight or dealer prep. There are no hidden fees in their prices ever. And as a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they want to thank you for your support. That's why they're offering this season's game attendees $500 off the purchase of a new RV. Just show them your ticket. So visit Campers Inn RV, the RVer's trusted resource, I-10 West, exit 351, or campersinn.com today.
At Papa John's, we like to say, better sausage, better beef, better bacon, better julienne-cut Canadian bacon, better pepperoni. Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium meats pizza made with 5 premium meats free of artificial flavors or fillers. Or our new barbecue meats pizza made with smoky Southern-style barbecue sauce for only $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Prices and participation may vary. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee extra.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiahAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The Jags and the Bucs in preseason week 3 coming up in Tampa. 7:30 is the kickoff time tonight. JTA's Game Day Express is back and ready for action. Don't get stuck in game day traffic. Park at any of the 5 convenient locations and then hop on board and take it to the bank. It's time for First Rounds on Us.
New York Jets, first round choice. Jeff Lageman.
Jacksonville Jaguars have selected tackle Southern California, Tony Boselli.
Only way to the top is looking out for number 1. And that's us. Keep looking out for number 1.
Jeff Lageman, 1989 to the New York Jets. Tony Boselli, 1995 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They join us from a good Eaton City, Tampa, Florida. What's up, guys?
Well, the best thing is, JP, is that the weather has cleared, because the biggest concern in the 4th preseason game is any kind of delay, whether it's lightning or rain or anything else. And so since the weather is good, it's actually afforded us the opportunity to see who is out here getting a workout in before the game, which the indication is that if they're working out, they're probably not going to play. So we have in front of us a number of guys that we assume that are not going to be playing in this ball game today.
Yeah, 48 guys basically out there. So the guys, the top 48 are going to make the team.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm estimating, but it's a large number of individuals that are warming up for no good reason but to get a workout in.
It's not only a good eating town; it's a good eating press box. I think it's the best press box food in the league.
My God. Mike, then the problem is they already got out the nacho cheese and chips. Okay, I mean, why did they have to do that?
Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if they're in their regular season mode.
Well, they already are.
Well, no. I walked it. I'm telling you, I checked. I've been here several times. The full season package I've yet to see it. With
no
the great
carving station.
Yeah, there's no carving station out yet. The high-end cold cut sandwiches on the onion buns.
But here's the thing. Okay, what they have out right now is way better than what we get in Jacksonville.
Oh, I'm not saying Jeff. I'm not comparing it. I'm just saying this place regular season is the finest press box food in the NFL. And so, but I don't know if they're at the regular season level, Mike. I know you've been here for some games as well.
Absolutely.
So it's a great place to have halftime and pregame if you're a media member and the Bucs are playing in the regular season.
No question about it. Now, you guys, I'm assuming, didn't play a whole lot in the fourth week of the preseason ever throughout your career. Is that correct?
No, that's not true.
Is that right?
Yeah, we played.
We played.
Yeah, we played the fourth preseason game, and typically how it went is the first game was 12 to 15 snaps. The second game was maybe 25 snaps. Into the second quarter, maybe deep into the second quarter, and then the third preseason game was coming out after halftime and getting a series or two, depending on the number of snaps.
That's right.
And then the fourth preseason game, you almost cut it all the way back to what you did at the first preseason game, which was 12 to 15 snaps.
Yep. We, I think every fourth preseason game, you got at least one series, maybe two.
Wow. Quarterback tonight, Doug Marrone says Cody Kessler is going to play some. How long do you play him? And if backup quarterback is the concern, that tells you what this fourth preseason game is about. But how long do you play Kessler tonight, guys? 15
to 20 snaps, and you're going to have a lot of handoffs in that number of snaps. To not expose him to hits. Now and then after that, put the rookie in, and good luck, young man.
If they had more confidence in the third in Tanner Lee, I don't think Cody Kessler would play any snaps. But I think we've seen Tanner Lee in that first preseason game. It was interesting. And I think I don't think they want to give him the whole game yet, Jeff. I just don't think he's there ready for that.
No, and so, if you're a betting man, okay, the Buccaneers have a little bit better backup quarterback situation. Okay, so Jameis Winston you expect to play tonight.
Because he's missed 3 weeks.
He's got 3 games.
This.
He's out, right? And you got a couple other guys. One of them's a veteran that they got from the New Orleans Saints a couple years ago, and then you have, believe it or not, you got a brother of a guy that the Jaguars drafted a couple years ago. Did you see that, Tony?
No, I did not.
Okay, and I didn't know this, but Brandon Allen, younger brother,
who's from A&M.
He's the free agent.
Wasn't he at A&M
Arkansas.
first? Arkansas. I thought one of them started at A&M.
Maybe that was him. But anyway,
ended up at Arkansas.
Up at Arkansas, and he's a free agent acquisition. But the Bucs got Jameis Winston, probably going to play tonight, and then Ryan Griffin, who they got from the New Orleans Saints off the waiver wire a couple years ago. He's in his 5th year, and then you got the rookie. So, the Buccaneers got a little bit better quarterback play going into preseason game number 4.
That's good, though, right? If you're trying to find out how many DBs you're going to keep, which cornerbacks fill out the roster, wouldn't you rather see that higher level of competition from the Jags' perspective?
It absolutely. And also because you're also going to have a couple guys up front for the Jaguars that you want to see get after the passer, and Taven Bryan and Dante Fowler. Because I expect Dante Fowler to play into the second half. They're going to get him a bunch of snaps because he's going to be shut down for a week. And he's missed a lot of training camp for suspensions and then being on PUP. So, look, I'd rather if I'm Doug Marrone, I'd rather have the situation that they have, facing veteran quarterbacks, than what the Buccaneers are going to be facing in a rookie who has struggled at times in the preseason so far.
Well, that depends. If you're the offensive line coach and evaluating the Bucs offensive line, you love the fact that you're going to get to see your young guys go against Dante Fowler and Taven Bryant. And so
absolutely.
It's great work. And so it just depends what side you're on, but you're going to have a bunch of young guys out there. You're having a bunch of guys that are going to be doing something else besides playing football next week.
And then I looked at the numbers, and the numbers are this, which is pretty incredible. After Saturday at 4 p.m., there will be 1,184 players on the street. 1,184 players will get released. Okay, and then there will be another openings for 320 practice squad positions at that point. But, I mean, you're talking over 1,100 guys are going to get cut from NFL teams coming up by this Saturday. I mean, you talk about ending some dreams. And so today is the last opportunity that some of these guys ever have to ever wear an NFL uniform, and certainly a last opportunity to impress somebody else around the league to put on good film that, hey, I can be a player in this league. I just need time to develop.
Well, yeah, several of these guys will be starting their accounting careers and sales careers and retail careers, whatever other career you can think of, but it won't be in the NFL. It's their last chance, and it's an interesting thing because if you think about it, you know, we sit here in week 4, and, I mean, if we're honest, we're all looking forward to opening day. And we're all looking forward to the next step and what this team's going to be. And the Buccaneer fans are no different. But for guys on this field tonight, this is it.
I mean, this is it. This is your whole life.
Yeah, this is all that matters.
This is your dreams and everything growing up. That, you know, to play professional football, this may be your last opportunity.
Doug Marrone had some great comments on that this week. He has that player's perspective. He was cut 6 times in his career. He said, hey, we'll come back, guys, and get Frank Frangie with us. We'll pick some players to watch tonight in this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jags-Bucks coming up 7:30, the kickoff time at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
Wow, our Jags are hot. Time to treat yourself to the cool, creamy deliciousness of a Yobi frozen yogurt. All Yobi low-fat or fat-free frozen yogurts are made with real milk, no artificial flavors, and some are as little as 25 calories per ounce. So it's easy to be game day ready. Plus, all Yobi's great toppings and fresh-cut fruit are included. Fans, stay up on all the latest offers and tasty new flavors added every month with the Yobi app. Visit myyobi.com for details and find a location near you. Yobi is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Be the MVP of your next tailgate with the official wing of the Jacksonville Jaguars from Dick's Wings and Grill. Whether at the stadium or cheering from home, game day every day with Dick's 365 wing varieties, burgers, wraps, and more. And for somewhere to catch all the sports action, Dick's Wings and Grill's 23 area locations have been a local fan favorite for more than 20 years. For the best wings, ice-cold craft beer, and best fans, feed where the big cats feast. Visit DicksWingsAndGrill.com for a location nearest you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch, an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Only in Jacksonville can you tour a state-of-the-art hospitality show home before a game. Hi, this is Lauren Brooks. Make it a point to visit the Dreamfinders Home's newest stadium home before any home Jaguars game. Take a free tour and register for a chance to win amazing grand prizes. Dreamfinders Homes will select one winner per home game. Only at Dreamfinders Homes Stadium Home 2.0 by Gate 4 at TIAA Bank Field. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiaAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field. The Publix Tailgate Show continues. 7:30 Eastern kickoff time for the Jags and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Coming up at Daly's Place, busy schedule ahead of the home opener against the Patriots. September 12th, Deep Purple and Judas Priest. September 13th, Dierks Bentley. September 14th, Sting and Shaggy. Tickets at dailysplace.com. We welcome back Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman in Tampa, and welcome in for the first time play-by-play man Frank Frangie. And we'll pick some players to watch in this game. We're going to go deep down the depth chart here with most of the starters we imagine not suiting up tonight. Frank, you want to get us started today?
Yeah, you know what? I will. I'm still confused or concerned or curious about what's going to happen at the tight end spot. Maybe Ben Koyak if he plays. We don't have a list of who's playing and who's not. If O'Shaughnessy plays, I don't know which one of those guys are going to be out there. Koyak's an interesting guy to me, JP, because they drafted him. There's been flashes. He caught a big touchdown, obviously, in a playoff game last year. So what happens with tight end will be a big thing for me, and I'll start with Koyak. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Tony, are you there, first of all?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Why
good.
wouldn't I be here?
Well, you weren't
the whole time.
You weren't last week. That's okay.
I was actually had responsibilities within the building. JP.
That was a good one, JP.
Thank you,
That's
Tony.
hilarious.
Go for it, please. Since
We
you're in the building,
wish you weren't here, JP. Besides that.
What you got, Tone?
I'm going to go Taven Bryan. I want to see the first rounder, what he can do, and I think he needs reps. And I want to see what kind of production he can have tonight. I think he gets some reps, gets an opportunity. He'll be on the front line starting. And I'm really curious, Jeff, if the athletic ability and the physical traits he has, does it translate to making plays on the football field?
I want to see him penetrate, because we saw some strength last week, made a couple plays, but I want to see the strength. And he's going to be going against some guys that he should be able to control or dominate. So interesting there. For me, I'm going to go the opposite of you, which I'm surprised you didn't pick this guy, which is Will Richardson Jr., who's their fourth-round pick, future starting right tackle out of NC State. And we've seen him in limited snaps so far. I like what I've seen out of him. I don't know if he's 100% healthy. He's wearing a cast on his hand or whatever.
That's his hand.
But I think he's going to be a good football player in the future, and I want to see him play a lot tonight, which I think he will.
I like that pick, Jeff. The reason I went with Taven is because I think this team's expecting production out of Taven Bryant this year as a rotational player.
Yep.
Where Will Richardson, he's going to be inactive most weeks. He won't be the swing tackle Josh Wells will be. And unless there's an injury or maybe two injuries, I'm not sure he plays much his rookie year.
Yeah, because a lot of the other guys, let's be real. Besides Taven Bryan, Dante Fowler, everybody else they're bubble players anyway.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Right.
Okay, and so we're all pretty much all picking possible starters here. Frank obviously with the tight end situation, and I really believe that it could be Koyak or it could be Bohannon or it could be somebody else. Niles Paul might be or not on this football team. Because I think they're all vying for one position.
I think Paul's on the team because
I think he is
because
too.
of special teams.
Well, I saw him warming up.
And he's not playing.
Right.
So he's not playing. He's on the team.
Got an idea on that.
Anybody warming up's not playing, right?
But I think that's interesting. But we're talking about kind of bubble players here, and I believe that out of all these bubble players that we're looking at, who do you think has an opportunity to be a future starter? And for me, Will Richardson obviously is one of those guys, but I don't think he's a bubble player. Because, he's a lock to make a team. Dave Caldwell's not going to go, I got to cut my fourth-round pick.
Not going to happen.
No.
Mike, who you got?
All right, I've got I had Taven Bryan high on my list, but I've got a list, so I will go down and I will say Quentin Meeks and kind of Quentin Meeks, Trey Herndon, the back end of the cornerback group right there, depending on if they keep 5 or 6. If it's 5, I think it's a battle, maybe heads up between those two in particular. Otherwise, it could be a case where they're both trying to get on this roster. As we talked about, I think the quarterback play for Tampa, just based on the names that are going to be in the game tonight, is going to be a little bit sharper than Jacksonville. So they'll have a pretty good test, I think, tonight. And it'd be interesting because you're talking about a couple of undrafted free agents that have a chance to make their mark. They both had their moments in camp up to this point. And I think when you start doing the math of how many are you going to keep at each position? I think the battle that they've waged on training camp right up until tonight is going to go a long way to determining whether or not you keep 6 cornerbacks.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the Shane Wynn, Rashad Green combo and throw in Mickens even if you want, if any of the depending on what they do.
Mickens working out.
He's not playing, JP.
He's working out.
You might want to watch someone else.
Thank you. Green and Wynn, then. I'm going to go with those guys because do they keep 5? Do they keep 6 receivers? That's part of that roster churn after the Marquise Lee situation. What do they do at receiver? Does somebody step out tonight of one of those 2 guys and make the football team? I think that's a big one to watch. So there you have it.
And
yes.
Nobody picked linebacker. How about that? Mm-hmm. Nobody picked a backup linebacker.
Yeah, because I think the backup linebackers might be on different rosters right now.
Well, let's look at the Bucs roster today. Then. Let's look at those linebackers.
There you have it. Players to watch in tonight's game. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll be back with you in just a minute. We continue, though, with the Frangie File a little longer with Jaguars play-by-play man Frank Frangie, who, according to the Twitter website, did a feeding frenzy last night.
Oh, my goodness. Manny's last week in Minnesota. This week, Burns in Tampa. It is all Jeff Lageman's fault. He's kind of like the ringleader. You got to have a ringleader, and if he's not trustworthy, you could get very fat very quickly, JP. So it's all on Lageman, and we had a wonderful time again last night. Great steak last night.
Yeah, good town to eat in for sure. And, as we've talked about throughout the show already today, it's the fourth, the final preseason game. A lot of guys are down in this game. That's how it's built. You're trying to figure out the last few roster spots here. How many spots are open, Frank, you think?
Yeah, you know what? I think the thing that Jeff said right at the end before he and Tony got off is important. I think they've got to figure out backup linebacker. I think that you got to have some, JP. Someone's got to be your backup linebacker, assuming that when this thing starts, Jack and Telvin Smith and now Leon Jacobs will start at linebacker. Someone's got to back them up. So I think that's up for grabs. I do think that whole tight end fullback thing is up for grabs. I don't know what they're going to do. We did not see Ben Koyak out here warming up with these other guys, so that means he's playing. And if he's playing, that means he's not necessarily on the team. I think the guys that don't play have made the team, right? So I think that thing's up for grabs. I do think there's probably a defensive back, maybe one cornerback spot that's not decided yet. Obviously, Boye and Ramsey and Hayden and Tyler Patman are on the team. I think there's another spot or two. So, JP, I think to your point, there's probably 5, 6, 7 roster spots that I don't think they're sure. They may have an idea, but I don't think they're sure who's going to fill those spots.
Yeah, Frank, for starters, this is an easy week, right? You're just going to sit back and try to avoid a guy crashing into you if he goes across the sideline. For the guys on the end of the roster, it's a big week for them. What about for the play-by-play guy? How challenging is it to go 90 deep on the pronunciation guide with calling it? You get used to the guys you're used to calling every single week. Right. You're going to have a lot more Moatua Puakas, and I don't even know if I got that right there.
Close.
You did get it right. And B, I tell people this all the time, Mike. I did 7 years of college games before I did these games, and those rosters all have 90 players. They all have duplicate numbers. They all have guys you didn't know their name until that week. So this is way better. Trust me on that. This is way better than those were. So, but no, I hear you. But I will tell you this. People say, boy, you're not looking forward to this. You're not looking forward to this. It's got to be a bad game. Look, number one, I only get to call 20 of these. As a fan, you only get to watch your team go on TV or play on the radio or however you consume it. You only get to do it 20 times. There's things I'm excited about in this game. You know one thing I'm excited about, guys? Watching Cody Kessler. He's a twisted ankle away from trying to take this team to the Super Bowl. That's really important. In the most important position in all of sports, quarterback in football, you are one twisted ankle away from somebody else trying to take you to a Super Bowl. You realize the guy's completed 80% of his passes in this preseason? 80. He's 32 of 40. He's really fun to watch, I think. And, again, he's a step away, so he's among the guys I'm looking forward to watching. I'm looking forward to watching Brandon Wiles and Tim Cook and see, can one of those guys be the final running back on this team? So there's a lot I'm excited about for this game.
Yeah, well, the other part of that, Frank, is Cody Kessler's one defensive end away from being hurt, and a guy trying to make a team for the Buccaneers, trying to make a play, going wild in an offensive line. If they become porous for some reason tonight, then Kessler's on the ground. That's not where you want him to be. And, by the way, he's been on the ground a lot in this preseason, too, sacked.
And that's a danger. You're right. That's why I'm not sure he plays very long tonight. I'm guessing, and I don't know this, by the way, I'm guessing Kessler gets a quarter maybe, and then Tanner Lee plays the rest of the game, and barring injury, Kessler's done for the night. So, but you're right. Certainly, when you've got backup offensive linemen, and you said it exactly right, JP, backup offensive linemen trying to block defensive linemen who are desperate to make a roster spot, a lot of things can go wrong, no question about it. But there's a lot to be excited about for this game, no question.
Well, Frank, let me ask you that. What is the reason, if you're only going to play Cody Kessler for a quarter, right?
Yeah.
I heard the guys talking about earlier, they don't know if they could trust Tanner Lee for the whole game. Is that because you want to see this wide receiver battle play out and give them maybe a little bit more accurate quarterback to give them a chance to show what they've got? I mean, why wouldn't you? If Lee's going to play 3 quarters, why couldn't he play 4?
Yeah, and I don't know. And Mike, I'm guessing, by the way. Kessler could play a half for all I know. I don't want to misrepresent this as I know something that I don't. I'm guessing he's not going to play very much. I think the one thing you said, number one, if you still got 1 or 2 receivers battling for a spot, that's part of it. The other thing, too, is I do think you want a semblance of a game. This game doesn't matter with regard to what happens next week, but I do think you want some semblance of rhythm in this game. And I think you feel like you've got that with Cody Kessler. The other thing is, and knock on wood as I say this, but I don't think quarterbacks have been as susceptible to injury as other positions have. Yes, Carson Wentz was gone for the year, and there's some. But I think for the most part, I'm guessing they're going to run the ball a lot. One thing about these 4th preseason games, both these teams are trying to get out of here too, Mike. You know, I think you're seeing that my experience has been in these 5 years of doing this, or 4 years, this is my 5th, is that the 4th game tends to go pretty quickly. Teams run the football. Teams are trying to get off the field the same way we are. Look, Tampa and Jacksonville are trying to get to next Sunday with nobody hurt. These coaches know that as well. You got to play the game. So I think you're going to reduce injury as much as you can from a play-calling standpoint, and that'll be the case with Kessler as well.
Keep the lightning away, too. That's part of this.
Yes, that is, by the way, that is a gigantic need for us to get this thing in. I'm all about getting it in regular time. You're right, guys.
Have a good call.
Thanks, fellas.
See you, Frank.
Frank Frangie from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. We'll return on the Publix Tailgate Show. Jaguars Director of Player Development Marcus Pollard is standing by, and a little later, we'll hear from Andrew Matuapawaka, linebacker from Virginia Tech, undrafted rookie. His last chance to put something on tape tonight. The Jags and the Buccaneers at 7:30 this evening. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
At Farah & Farah, our philosophy can be boiled down to one word: respect. Respect for every client regardless of who they are or the size of their case. Respect for innocent victims, and respect for the law. So when the insurance company thinks they can bully you instead of paying a claim, we respectfully disagree. If you're hurt, call Farah & Farah. We'll help you get the respect you deserve. Call 800-500-5555. Jacksonville.
I'm Devin. I deliver sandwiches for Jimmy John's.
Freaktown. Population Devin.
We'll deliver 1 sandwich.
Minimum freak.
Or hundreds of sandwiches.
Infinity freak.
However many you want.
You're mayor of Freaktown, Devin. Freaky fresh, freaky fast, Jimmy John's, freak yeah.
I'm Tammy. I get to Jimmy John's early every day.
Freak-a-doodle-doo.
To bake bread fresh.
Freak-a-doodle-do.
And we keep on baking throughout the day, so it's always fresh for our customers. That's all.
Doodaloo, freak-a-doo. Freaky fresh, freaky fast, Jimmy John's, freak yeah.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That is Bono's. Head to Bono's today. 15 locations on the First Coast and 6 more at TIAA Bank Field. You see, Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want great barbecue, you want Bono's. Plenty of parking, clean family restaurants, and oh, by the way, the best barbecue you have ever had. So if you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today, the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Massage Envy announces their newest game changer, professionally assisted stretch. Increase mobility, flexibility, and blood flow. Add stretch to relaxing therapeutic massage sessions and you're game ready. Visit any of the 7 Jacksonville area Massage Envy locations in Bartram Park, Fleming Island, Harbor Village, Jacks Beach, Oakleaf, Ortega, and Southside. Text stretch to 82257 to receive a free 30-minute professionally assisted stretch offer when you purchase any massage session. Text the word stretch to 82257.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan on creating the best customer experience.
Game day is special, and when the Jags take the field, we want every fan to have the best game day possible. That's why we partnered with Dailies. They even have 3 locations in the stadium. They know what makes for a great customer experience. From the kickoff kit program to the way they treat our fans at the game, it's like they say, it's nicer here. I can't think of a better game day partner. I also happen to like their coffee.
To experience what Shad is talking about, visit a Dailies at TIAA Bank Field or any of our 29 Jacksonville locations.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiahAutos.com studio. TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. Preseason week 4, the Buccaneers and the Jags. 7:30 kickoff tonight in Tampa. We head back to Raymond James Stadium and welcome in former NFL tight end, Jaguars Director of Player Development and Youth Football, Marcus Pollard.
Holding it down from Raymond James.
Yes, you are, as always, Marcus. Week 4. Preseason, we're going to hear from some guys coming up a little bit later that could be roster bubble type guys for this team, guys that have been on the roster this entire offseason since, right after the season or March or so, and they've been on the practice field all spring, and they've been around all summer sweating it out with this team, trying to make the team. But come Saturday, some of these guys won't be here. For maybe a younger guy, an undrafted guy that has come in, what do you tell him on a week like this to keep him focused on the task at hand?
That is a great question. So what I've done privately this entire week is go to those guys individually and tell them that you are still auditioning for 31 other clubs that are out there. This is an audition. So don't take, because you're playing in this game and they're resting some of the other guys, that you're less important or you're less valuable. You have to see yourself as a commodity, and there are 31 other teams that are looking to sign some players that's going to make a club not here or maybe another team. And so to me, that's been my focus for them. It's just think about not now, but think about where you could be later.
Hey, Marcus, what is the dynamic like in the pregame locker room this week when you've got a bunch of guys who know they're not playing, you've got other guys that know their spot on the team's probably secure, even though if they have to play a little bit out of positional necessity, and then you've got other guys who maybe are a little bit desperate, wondering if their football career is going to continue. What's the mood like before a game like this?
That's a great question, because I was thinking about that today. It's the epitome of two entities. There's the highs of the highs, the mountains, and there are the lows of the lows and the valleys. For the guys who are not playing tonight, they feel this sense of accomplishment, this sense of achievement. I reached the highest pinnacle. But for those guys who playing in this game, it's like, wow, I may be out of work. I've been here grinding. I've been busting my hump. Here I am. What do I do going forward? And so to me, it's been a little bit of both. You get the guys that are on the team that are laughing and joking, having a good time, but those guys who may be on the bubble think they may get cut. They walk around with a long face like a horse.
As a veteran guy who's off to the side tonight, how much interaction do you have with those guys? You want to kind of help them through this last game and get them ready, but some guys may or may not be like that. How do you see the interaction on the sideline tonight?
I think it'll be great. I think Doug has done a tremendous job of making sure that everybody understands the value of this game and what's at stake for the guys that are playing in this game. So you will see our veteran guys who are not playing, will be totally into this game and encouraging those guys who are playing, because at the end of the day, it's still football and we're still on the same team. I don't think guys are going to be disinterested or anything like that. I think they're going to be involved in encouraging the guys to give their absolute best, and I'll be doing the same thing.
All right, Marcus, here's the obligatory tight end question. You thought you were going to escape it, but you're not. Do you expect – we know who the top 4 tight ends are on this team, however you want to list them, Safarian-Jenkins, O'Shaughnessy, Niles Paul, Ben Koyack. Do all 4 of those guys make the 53-man roster in your opinion?
That is a great question. I think it's really going to depend on because, as you know, you can only – you designate their 9 defensive linemen or their 11 offensive linemen. So if you only have 3 tight ends, is normally what's in the book to keep 3. So if you keep 4, then you got to cut a fullback. And since we use a fullback a lot of the times, but if one of the tight ends, one of those 4, can be in the backfield and lead block for Leonard, I think that guy gives himself a better opportunity to be on the field and play. So I think it's 4. To answer your question, I think it'll be 4 tight ends that we'll move forward with, and one of those guys, probably got to learn to be a blocker, depending on what they do with Tommy.
Interesting stuff. The days ahead here, we'll ask you week 1 about the high school coach of the week. That'll come up in New York when you're at
we letting it simmer. It's going to be good.
It's still on the stove. It better be. We've been waiting for it for a little while. Marcus, have a good one, man. Marcus Pollard joining us from Tampa, Florida. PRI Productions, a Southeast full-service event company, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com and learn more. One of those players on the bubble, undrafted rookie linebacker Andrew Matuapawaka out of Virginia Tech. We caught up in the locker room earlier this week. Short turnaround, first of all. How challenging is that, being an undrafted rookie coming in here and having to get back on the field like 4 or 5 days later?
I think it's pretty tough, with a quick turnaround. And, a lot of the vets are telling us, this is where, the rookies get, their initiation into the league, where they're on all the special teams and they're playing, all throughout the defense or offense, whatever it is, and it's just like just introduces you to the league, and you just go through it. They say rookies just always go through it that last preseason game. So being that and a quick turnaround, I'm just try to see how I can just keep my body just prepared and ready. Get well rested this week and just go out there and just ball.
How would you grade your camp so far? How do you feel like you've done?
I think I've done a pretty good job of just just soaking in the defense, kind of just learning from the older guys in front of me, and really just taking it all in and taking it one day at a time. Kind of just grinding it out and trying to prove myself and trying to be consistent the most I can.
How much of it is the physical aspect of the game, and then how much of it is the classroom, the playbook, and all that? Having to balance both sides of that is got to be a challenge, right?
Oh yeah, it is. It is definitely a challenge. Of course, mentally, trying to learn the whole playbook and being able to learn it quickly. Go out onto the practice field and maybe walk through it like once or twice and be able to put it into play, when it's full go. So, that's been pretty tough. And, physically, we're here all day. Most of the day we're in meetings, but, when we are doing something physical, it's pretty taxing on our bodies, and, we're going all out. And, just kind of being able to go back and get rest and, with nutrition, just kind of putting the right stuff in your body so you can recover for the next day.
What's left for you to show? What else do you have that you'd like to put on tape before the end of this preseason?
I always think I can improve in everything that that I do, but just be able to go out there and just be able to execute consistently with the defensive calls and also on special teams, and try to make plays on special teams. Just continue to show my effort. I know I'm going to be tired, but, just grinding through that and kind of just, continue to improve.
I guess part of the challenge of this game is that you have to still do your job and be in the right place and do the right things, but you kind of want to flash and make a play at the same time, right? But so how do you balance making a play, going out of the way to do that, with still doing your job? Because there's a feeling like you got to kind of do both, right?
Yeah, just knowing, the right, being in the right place, right time, and kind of just making a good judgment of whether you can actually go make the play or if you just have to, do your job so someone else can make the play. So really just kind of just judging it, and, if you can make it, just go make it, but don't think about it, just kind of just play and react. That's when just being a football player comes into hand. It's just see ball, play ball.
Good luck, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Andrew Matuapawaka, linebacker from Virginia Tech, an undrafted rookie, and they all know what this week means in the preseason. They've been here the whole summertime. They know they're up, and they've got to perform. Not only, as you heard Marcus say, it's for all teams in the league and some teams outside of the league as well. We'll take a look at this game tonight.
Well, how often have we talked about in relation to a guy like Miles Jack, how he has got to just be able to play and do things instinctively and not think his way through it. And here you got Andrew Matuapawaka saying the same thing, basically. Like, you just see ball, play ball. You just got to forget the implications of what you're doing. You can't be afraid to make that mistake, because then you're going to be hesitant, and we know when you hesitate, you're in big trouble in sports typically. So, we talk about it in terms of a frontline starting player on this team, how it's still an issue that you'd like to make sure it's going to go 100% smoothly this year. These guys are doing it in their own way on a much more impactful scale to them personally in tonight's game.
Coming up on the second hour of the Publix Tailgate Show, we'll have the top headlines of the week. We'll hear from running back Tim Cook, another one of those roster bubble type of guys tonight. Jaguars Buccaneers coming up at 7:30 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we were.
This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
He scored!
This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Get 0% APR financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford Credit Bonus Cash on a great lineup of Ford SUVs. That's Ford, America's best-selling brand. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit financing. 72 months at $1,389 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Not available on Expedition. For all offers, take new retail delivery from authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
Some things make a house your home. Like a quick heating oven that makes the aroma of warm chocolate chip cookies your thing. When cooking with natural gas, you get the best temperature control, save money, and earn a rebate up to $200.
Who wants cookies?
Your home. Our safe, reliable, efficient energy. Love natural gas. Find rebate details at peoplesgas.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brooks offers rehabilitation services such as inpatient care, outpatient therapy, skilled nursing, home health, assisted living, and memory care. They also have a wide range of community programs, as well as a comprehensive pediatric program. Brooks offers high-quality care from their expert clinical team to help you meet your rehabilitation goals. To learn more, visit brooksrehab.org. That's brooksrehab.org.
This is Clark Judge of the Talk of Fame Network with some advice for you this NFL season. Sign up with FanDuel because now, more than ever, it has more ways to win. Like the Beat the Score contest that pays out everyone who hits a certain score with no worrying about how others are doing. Just hit the score and win. Or the easy way to find friends to play head-to-head contests for money or bragging rights, whichever you prefer. And best of all, you get $20 when you sign up with your first deposit. Will sound like a good idea? Well, that's because it is. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Clark, and you can thank me later.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Yes, it does. Hour number 2. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HananiahAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. 7:30, the kickoff time for the Jaguars and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And, Mike, this is a familiar preseason opponent for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tonight, the 13th preseason meeting between the Jags and the Buccaneers. The Jaguars lead the all-time series 7-5.
Yeah, they're just like Atlanta. They don't want any of the Jaguars in the preseason down in Tampa.
Nope.
The Falcons got theirs again.
That's
Jags
right.
extend the 8-5, I think now against the Falcons, something
Correct.
like that.
No, I think they're 9-5.
9-5. So there you go, extending the streak out just like we're going to see tonight. Tanner Lee. Big second half numbers.
Big game
JB.
coming. Big game. How many defensive scores tonight?
One. Just one. I'm not greedy. We'll just take the one.
We're
gonna see Meeks is gonna pick Jameis and take him to the house.
Oh, I like that.
How about that? If
That would
I call
be-
that, save the tape, Tone. Burn it.
We
Burn
rolling
it if
on
it
this
doesn't happen,
because
please.
we'll have to play that in the post-game show tonight if it happens. But that's the point tonight. Most starters will not play. We'll have the official did not dress list coming up in about a half hour or so from right now, so we'll have a good idea. But you have a pretty good idea if you've been following this football team who will or should not play in this game.
Absolutely. I think the great thing for Jaguar fans is now you're excited about the fact that you've got a lot of good guys that won't be playing tonight, right? I mean, even last year, you thought you had a much improved roster. You didn't know, right? I mean, and really, even early in the season, JP, can this team win at home, right? I mean, that whole refrain, 3-3 out of the gates, and okay, it's a step in the right direction, but now you feel like, okay, we've got the unit, we've got the roster that is maybe as good as any in the National Football League, certainly on the defensive side of the ball, but collectively one of the most impressive rosters in the NFL, and it's nice to get to this point and kind of feel like you've earned the chance to hold back some real superstars in anticipation to open this thing up with the Giants.
Let's get to today's top story, starting off with reaction to the loss of wide receiver Marquise Lee. He's done for the season after the knee injury last week, and he leaves behind a young wide receiver room to get it done this year, including second-round draft pick DJ Chark Jr.
And, I went and hung out with him for a while yesterday, and he's in good spirits. Usually he's always in good spirits, so that's a great guy to look after. For the rest of the season, we just got to step up. Because we know if he was on the field, he'll do what he had to do, and he was going to make sure he hold us accountable. So we got to hold ourselves accountable now.
Well, DJ is obviously going to be a big part of this wide receiving crew's second-round pick. He understood what Marquise Lee meant to the organization, and just being around him for a few months, what he meant to that wide receiver room as well.
Well, and that's why you heard Doug Marrone say he wants to keep Marquise Lee around the team as much as possible because, JP, I mean, really, Keelan Cole, with his year of starting experience in a Jaguar uniform, or playing experience, it didn't start all that time, is kind of the elder statesman in terms of Jaguar experience. I guess you could argue Rashad Green, if he's on this football team, we don't know, but Cole's going to have a much more important place in the pecking order, we believe. Dante Moncrief played more football, but he hasn't played it here. So we'll see. And he seems like a kind of guy, and he himself admitted that he likes to lead by example more than be that vocal guy that, Marquis has an infectious personality. And look, there are plenty of other veterans in the locker room that don't necessarily play that position. And as Jeff Loggeman put it to me the other day, Keenan McCardell is going to lead this room, right? I mean, he's a guy who's played the game. They relate to him very well, and he is not the shy, retiring type. And I think they respect everything that comes out of his mouth.
And Keenan's a guy who was a late-round draft pick back when they had he was a 12th-round pick, right? And
something
worked
like
his
that, yeah.
way up through the NFL for a long and illustrious career. So, I think you're right about Keenan running that room. Head coach Doug Marrone absolutely hates the end of this week, and he said so earlier this week. As a player, he was cut 6 times in his career, and he can relate to what guys are going through a little later in this week. The days after this game are forever etched in his mind as a player.
It's an interesting sport because, when you're in, it's great. You're in the locker room every day, everything's great, and then all of a sudden, when you're out, you're out. You don't have that same feeling of family or team or whatever anyone wants to come to it. So, but the coaches that I was with were very respectful. I mean, they were, they appreciated the job that you did. If you stayed healthy and you were out there every day busting your butt. you keep things open. In this league, a lot of things can happen.
Interesting thought process about what's going to happen in the next few days there. He sits down in front of every player that's going to be cut and explains a little bit of the process. And it's something at least to part ways with. And as he said at the end there, it might come back around. You never know how the league works. That player might be available, and you might need him later down the road.
And you don't know. Then there are others that are going to kind of have to face the reality. Maybe they've been through it a few times, and you got to make that tough decision. When is the time to quit chasing the dream? It's a tough thing to do because it's not like a player at the end of his career just trying to decide if he wants to hang on for one more year. If he decides to step away, he's probably made enough money to tide himself over for a while. These are guys that you don't get paid a lot of money when you're trying to make a National Football League team. So these guys have to decide, can I continue to train and devote my life to being ready to play NFL football if the call comes, or do I have to move on and get a real job?
All-pro left guard Andrew Norwell had to think about that. He entered the league as an undrafted player out of Ohio State. This week, he shared his memories of that final week of the preseason back in 2014 as a rookie.
It was really difficult because, as a rookie, you don't know what to expect, and you just take it day by day and just work on your technique and try to get better and impress the coaches and, show them that you're a valuable part of the team. And, just all comes down to is opportunity. And, coach at the time said, everybody's going to get an opportunity here. And sure enough, I got my opportunity in the fourth game, and it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers up there at Heinz Field. And, I played the whole game and was able to impress the coaches with my effort and finish and just technique and just overall improvement from when I first got there to that moment. Then, I had no regrets. We had, a day off afterwards, and we came in the next morning. And, some of the guys, they told them to go to the left. They were pointing out guys. And then one guy brought me aside and told me congratulations. And, walked in and had breakfast and texted my brother, that I made the squad. And he's like, "He's the 53 or practice squad." And I'm like, "No, active." And, it was a great moment.
Yeah, great moment for Andrew Norwell. A good memory there. He played 39 snaps in that game, the last preseason game of that season, which was about 63% of the snaps in that game. He didn't play the whole game, as you said, but pretty darn close to it. The second most snaps on offense that day. Andrew Norwell, Carolina won 10-0 over the Steelers in that game. But it was that performance, his ability to have the stamina and go pretty much the distance in the game and still have the technique and everything there that put him over the edge and got him on the roster.
Right, and good for him for being able to do that. I imagine there are situations where over the course of NFL history, guys have been sent out there kind of as the proverbial tackling dummy, right? And they play a lot of snaps because they know they're not going to make the football team. But on the other hand, it could be a sign that they really want to get one last good long look at you. And in the case of Andrew Norwell, look what it turned into.
Yeah, it's turned into a huge payday and an all-pro nod a year ago on top of that. Special teams will be a big focus tonight for the coaching staff, certainly. Many times the final roster spots come down to what players can do on the coverage and return teams. And for special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis, the performance tonight can go a long, long way.
I think there are some guys that have made it on the final preseason game. There's been some guys I know that in my past anyway that were cut and came out with an unbelievable amount of stamina, played every play, and made some plays. And we decided to make a different decision. And then the other thing that you're playing for is the practice squad. You want to make sure that if you are released, there's a good possibility that you're still on the practice squad, and I think we have a number of guys that hopefully are in that same boat.
Joe D's been at this for a long, long time and has seen, like you said there, guys make a squad when they were kind of written off already. This is the week to do that.
Yeah, it's tough, I think, if you're kind of in that category, but it's a piece of the puzzle, and coaches may just be looking – they may have in their mind, like, hey, I like this guy. I think you could go the other way, too. If you don't see the kind of effort and the performance that you're looking for, maybe you play your way off the 53-man roster tonight.
There you have it, the top stories for today's game, the Jags and the Buccaneers coming up. And this portion of the Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. We'll return with David Lamb in studio with Lamb at large. A little later, running back Tim Cook to get his thoughts as the roster bubble could be bursting in a few days for some of these players. Tim Cook is one of those bubble players. He'll be getting a lot of time at running back tonight. And we'll also hear a little later from Joe DeCamillis, the full interview with the special teams coordinator is right around the corner. The Jags and the Bucs kick it off at 7:30 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa and from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Radio.
Jaguars fans, Ashley Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashley Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashley Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
Okay, so we're here to see who's going to go for the win. First off, Molly took it to the next level with the chairs and the coolers. Here comes Emma, bringing it with those killer boots and that portable grill. Oh my, I think she's going for it.
Mom, I think the hot dogs are on fire.
Hold on, honey. Ladies, where did you go to get ready for the game?
Stein Mart. Visit any one of our 6 locations in Jacksonville for all your tailgating needs as we proudly support the Jaguars this season. Stein Mart. Saving is a beautiful thing.
Follow the Jaguars non-stop when you fly from Jacksonville International Airport. JAX has convenient non-stop service to every single away game this season. Watch the Jags take on teams in New York, Kansas City, Dallas, Indianapolis, Buffalo, Nashville, Miami, Houston, and Minneapolis. So huddle with the family, formulate your game plan, and book your flights today. A complete list of non-stop flights from JAX can be found at flyjax.com.
This isn't just any Wi-Fi. It's the best in-home Wi-Fi experience to stream the most free shows on any device. It's how Xfinity makes life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity delivers fast speeds and the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. Perfect for streaming your favorites. Access the most free shows and movies, and even your DVR recordings on any device with the Xfinity Stream app. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply.
Be the MVP of your next tailgate with the official wing of the Jacksonville Jaguars from Dick's Wings and Grill. Whether at the stadium or cheering from home, game day every day with Dick's 365 wing varieties, burgers, wraps, and more. And for somewhere to catch all the sports action, Dick's Wings and Grill's 23 area locations have been a local fan favorite for more than 20 years. For the best wings, ice-cold craft beer, and best fans, feed where the big cats feast. Visit DicksWingsAndGrill.com for a location nearest you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the HannahNeilAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. Preseason week 4, the Jags and the Buccaneers at 7:30 down in Tampa. Jaguars Radio Network coverage begins at 6:30 with countdown to kickoff, and we'll take you all the way up to the opening kick as always. And as always, in studio each week, the guru, singing David Lamb with Lamb at Law.
God, I'm so happy this preseason's about to end. Let's get to the season, and I know what you ought to do with this 4th game. Get rid of the damn thing, okay? Just get rid of it. In fact, it was up to me, you'd get rid of all 4 preseason games. And I will tell you something. You know, being the old codger that I am, when I first started covering the NFL or paying attention to it, the preseason games, I remember when they played 6. And they treated them as no differently than they treated a regular season game. The champs from the year before used to play a team of college all-stars in Chicago. Can you imagine putting the Super Bowl champions out in a July game against the college team? You know, it wouldn't happen. But we've seen gradually, and I am so happy, more and more changes and complaints about the preseason. I think the fans are louder now about why am I paying full bore for a preseason game? so forth. I think coaches, we're seeing what McVay is doing out in L.A. His stars just sit down. And I think that's a trend we'll see more and more of, is coaches not playing their star players or players that they are convinced will be their starters. I just think it is ridiculous that the NFL has 4 preseason games. I don't think you need them. I think you could get away with no preseason. You have some of these scrimmages like the Jaguars had with the Vikings. I think that kind of stuff is great. But I just think it is just such a waste. And every time somebody goes down, when Marquise Lee went down last week, I'm sitting in the press box going, why would you ruin the guy's season when it doesn't matter? It's, you've got to practice. I understand that. But to go out there and be playing another team, and I'll tell you what happens, and it happens in the 4th game a lot too. We got all these guys fighting for their football lives. Well, they get a little overzealous, and they try to make these spectacular plays, and sometimes they hit after the whistle. And I think you're subjecting players to injuries more and more. And as far as this final cut down, again, I think we make too big a deal out of it. Now, I know there are individuals who their football careers will come to an end. They'll never strap on it. There are a few of those, and I understand that. But, when they make the cut down, tomorrow is the official day, how many of those players are going to sign with somebody else? We're talking about, I heard Tony say, almost 1,200 pro players will be on the streets. Well, a lot of those will sign. The Jaguars will sign. You make the 53-man roster tomorrow, it gives you no guarantee you will be on it the next day. Every year after they make the initial cut, they come back, and one of those 53 guys gets cut. They bring somebody else in. Some of the guys sign, on the practice squad. The NFL, they never stop massaging and working on their roster. All through the season, they're picking up maybe a practice player off somebody else's team. So it's a constant massaging of the roster throughout the season. So I think to act like, tomorrow is some final day, these are the 53 you're stuck with, these other guys will never play again. I just think we make too much of it. I love the games, but let's play them for real. And I'll tell you what, as the salaries have gone up, that's when you've seen screaming from the inside, from the owners and even coaches. All of a sudden you're looking at, I'm paying that much money out there in something that doesn't matter, and the chance of losing it. And a reason it's even getting louder as these guarantees start being more and more popular and getting bigger and bigger, you're asking the same question. That guy I've guaranteed him $65 billion, and if I lose him in Tampa or if I lose him in a preseason game, I'm going to be sick. So I think we're going to see a reduction somehow, certainly a major change in these exhibition games. And I don't think what McVay's doing in Los Angeles is something to not pay attention to, because I think you'll see more and more coaches, if they've got the established quarterback, running backs, stud outside pass rushers, they're going to say, hey, these guys, they've had plenty of game experience. We don't need to put them out there when it doesn't matter. And I think the preseason is changing, and I'm happy for it. But I'll really be happy when there is no preseason games.
All right. David Lamb with Lamb at Large. Couple of things here, Dave.
Okay.
First of all, the cut day officially 4 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. That's when you have to have
tomorrow,
it. You'll hear some teams announce them early.
Right.
You'll see some teams wait to try to work out deals for guys beforehand. But 4 p.m. is the deadline to have your roster down to 53 guys. Second, is there such a thing as a young codger? You said you're an old codger.
Is that redundant?
That may be redundant, but it may be redundant. But old codger sounds better. I think it has more of a punch in the gut than just codger. Or do you think? Not maybe? I don't know.
No, I agree. They go together.
It just hit my ear. I don't know why.
Actually, when I say old codger, I'm cleaning it up for the show, because usually there's another expression that's used that it's just not fan friendly.
I'll agree with you on one thing. I do think you're right. There's a big trend movement towards not risking your star players, and it may have been 7 or 8 teams this year that kind of went that direction. It's going to continue to grow. There may be always coaches like Doug Marrone that feel differently, but I'll disagree that this is overwhelming for a lot of players, Dave. That you've got 37 players being released by every team. Now, let's say you bring back 8 on the practice squad, and let's say 5 players from every team that are cut catch on with some other team, which I think is a high number. Well, for one thing, they're replacing somebody else, and those guys are getting kicked off. that would leave 700-plus guys getting cut with no prospect of having a job. I mean, just on those numbers alone right there. So I think it is a pretty devastating weekend for a lot of guys.
I don't disagree. And again, individually, there's a big number of those guys. But if you get cut, as much as you love football, these are all supposed to be college-educated men, right? I mean, I guess there may be somebody in the league that didn't go to college, but
for the most part, at least 3 years of it.
Okay, well, you could look at it this way. While you love playing football, you did go to college. You were supposed to be getting educated. So now you'll be like the thousands and thousands of other graduates from last year. You'll have to get a job that's not football. I mean,
right, but if you're still chasing that dream, if you're a young guy who gets cut, you've got to keep yourself in NFL shape. You can't just get a job, a desk job. You've got to make football your job until you decide to give it up. I just think it's tough for a lot of those guys. I mean, look, it's the reality of the world. It's not, it is what it is. But for some of those guys, it's really difficult to figure out when to stop chasing the dream, I guess.
Oh, and I understand that. And I've known guys that have chased it for 3 and 4 years and they never really made it, and I understand that. But, the worst thing that can come out of that is you just kept yourself in great physical shape and you hadn't gotten fat like a lot of the football players. When they quit playing, they just get all fat. Well, if you chase the dream, at least you're staying in good physical shape. So good for you. You can tell I quit chasing the dream very early. I quit chasing the dream when I was about 17 because I realized then that there was no dream. But I'm glad to see the hard looks at the preseason, the exhibition games, and we're seeing changes, and I think we will continue to see major changes in how it's done.
If there is such a thing as a young codger, you are it, Dave.
No, Tony would be a young codger.
Okay.
You would be a young codger.
Thank you.
Mike would be
middle-aged
codger. There we go.
Okay, Dave.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure. And, boy, am I excited. A week from Sunday, they play for real.
Yep.
And we can really get into it. Frank said you only get 20 times. Frank Frangie said you only get 20 times to watch them. Well, tonight what you're doing is you're watching your uniforms out there playing. Well, I don't know. As a fan of sports, that doesn't excite me. I sort of cheer for whoever's in those uniforms.
Mm-hmm. And it gets real next week.
And it gets real.
In New York against the New York Football Giants. Dave, we'll talk to you then, man.
Haven't the Giants, baseball Giants, been in San Francisco long enough to quit saying the New York Football Giants?
It's a thing, you old codger.
They've been out there a long time. And by the way, I hated it when they moved the Dodgers and the Giants to California.
It's been a while.
Robbed New York of those great teams.
What was that, 1950? What was that? 58?
Gosh.
58.
58 for the Dodgers, yeah.
You realize
59 season.
You realize they tore down Ebbets Field and the Polo Grounds? These were two great ballparks. Nobody
started again.
I know I did.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to shut up now, right?
No, it's we can talk baseball if you want. Let's go to. We'll talk to you next week, Dave.
I'll be here. Thank you.
We'll discuss the Giants and the Giants next week. Limited Patriots Jaguars tickets have come available. They had fewer than 800 seats in the Upper Bowl released from season ticket packages. Some standing room tickets were available as well. Jaguars.com. You can order. There are still some original tickets are remaining. There's a lot of resale tickets out there as well through the Ticketmaster website, but check them out, Jaguars.com. No Kevin Kaplan, the head team position this week. We'll get back with him next week. We go in the running back room. A heavy dose of Tim Cook tonight, a first-year player, and he's still looking to stick on an NFL roster.
How's it gone? I mean, has it been an easy transition for you to get in here and get working?
Coach has worked us, and I'm a very hard worker, and I've always grown up in an environment where work hard and have fun later, get the important stuff out the way. And all camp, I've been working on just making sure I know my assignment, ironing out the details, and making sure I'm ready for this game right here coming up.
Yeah, it's a big one. Week 4 of the preseason, you're going to get a lot of time, in this football game most likely. So with your mindset going in, you're going to play a lot of this football game. You got to put it all out now, right? This is the last chance to get it on tape, right?
Yeah, every opportunity counts. One thing I've always been told is don't count your reps, make your reps count. And I've been taking that with me everywhere I've gone. from junior college to D1, from high school to junior high, and it's worked out for me, and I'm excited for this opportunity that's about to come up for me.
That's the thing, too. You've moved around a lot in your college career and such. Does that make it a little easier to transition into a new place like this, or since you've had to do that a couple of times in your past? You know?
Yeah, it's been easier for me at this point. Maybe not during the time, you know, but I've been in a bunch of systems, met a bunch of different people, different personalities, and whenever you get into a new system, you just try to find where you fit in and do whatever you told and play whatever role it is for you and whatever is required. And I'm excited, you know. I'm in the NFL, you know, it can't get better than that.
It's a fun offense to be a part of, too, at least in the preseason. You know the personality of this team in the regular years. They want to run the ball. They want to punish the other defense up front and do that. And for a big back like yourself, you got to love that kind of mentality, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I grew up always wanting to be the person who creates the physical contact first. And in high school, I was a defensive player mostly and played running back too as well. Junior college, I was on both sides. Got offers on both sides of the ball. And when I got here, I just translated everything. And I always try to be the physical enforcer first, you know, and that's helped me along the ways a lot. And I compared my style to Leonard's, like coming out of junior college. It's funny stuff, you know. I used to watch him in his highlights. I was like, he got it figured out, and to come to find out I'm on the same team, it's kind of cool, you know.
How's he been? How's he been to work with and help you out? And it's not like this is an old running back room. All you guys are relatively young, especially the guy like T.J. Yeldon's only in his 4th year in the league. But how have those guys helped your transition here, and how approachable are they?
We got a tight running back room. We all look out for each other, and we all help each other throughout this whole process. And nobody's selfish in there. And them two, TJ and Fournette, they've been helping me, Corey, and Brandon along the way. And we all, like you said, young, but we still learning to be the best we can every day, you know.
There you have it, Tim Cook, running back, a guy who's a first-year player. He bounced around some junior colleges, Oregon State. He played on the defensive side of the ball some, and he's a big body running back.
Yes, he is.
Big bodies can be on 90-man rosters in the National Football League. The next trick is to break that 53 somewhere.
Well, I'd like to see him, you know, pop with a little bit of sizzle tonight, JP, because he's played behind Brandon Wilds every week. So if Cook is going to be, I don't have a dog in the hunt. Whoever performs the best makes the team. And if one of them is going to make the team, it doesn't matter to me who it is as long as they perform well for the Jags going forward. But it would seem, just based on the fact that Wilds has gotten into each preseason game before Cook, that he would have the edge. We'll find out, I guess, by Saturday at 4 p.m.
That's correct. And we'll find out who will not dress coming up in just a moment when we return to the Publix Tailgate Show. Special teams coordinator Joe DeCamillis joins us as well. He'll tell us how important this game can be for players on the bubble and what they can do to make the roster in tonight's game. Jaguars, Buccaneers in preseason week 4. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
Tap into your inner eagle and spread your wings with Yingling Traditional Lager, a bold amber color, near 200 years in the making, all-American brew. So plug in, rock out, and let the night take flight. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. Spread my wings and let it ride. DG Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
At Fair & Farah, our philosophy can be boiled down to one word: respect. Respect for every client regardless of who they are or the size of their case. Respect for innocent victims, and respect for the law. So when the insurance company thinks they can bully you instead of paying a claim, we respectfully disagree. If you're hurt, call Fair & Farah. We'll help you get the respect you deserve. Call 800-500-5555. Jacksonville.
Did you hear? The last 2 years, the Jaguars returned a punt for a touchdown, earning local families $100,000 towards a Dreamfinders home. Lauren Brooks here, letting you know that could be you this season. Visit any Dreamfinders Homes model and register to win the Take It to the House promotion for your chance at scoring $100,000 towards your Dreamfinders home. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
Hi, this is Tony Baselli. It's no secret that I love the sandwiches at Daly's Dash. But there's one sandwich that stands above the rest of them, and it keeps me coming back over and over again. It's called the Boss. They pile that bad boy with lots of roast beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions, and of course some Dash sauce. Which, as much as I travel during football season, this sandwich is one more thing that makes me eager to get back to Jacksonville. I could eat the Boss every day. Daly's, a local Jacksonville company. It's nicer here.
Looking to tailgate your dream RV this football season? Visit Campers Inn RV and shop their huge selection of fifth wheels, motorhomes, and travel trailers from the top manufacturers. Plus, with their integrity pricing guarantee, you'll never pay more for freight or dealer prep. There are no hidden fees in their prices ever. As a proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're offering this season's game attendees $500 off the purchase of a new RV. Just show them your ticket. Visit Campers Inn RV, the RVer's trusted resource, I-10 West, exit 351, or campersinn.com today.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey at the HananiahAutos.com studio at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. It's preseason week 4. The Jaguars and the Buccaneers coming up at 7:30 Eastern in Tampa, and we are awaiting, just moments away, we believe, from the Jaguars announcing the players who have not dressed for tonight's game. They have not announced that as of yet.
Takes a few more minutes to type up the list tonight.
It's a little longer.
Why we're waiting on it right now.
That might be part of the reason why. We will get that to you when we have it. Should be any moment, in fact. But until then, we'll get to our conversation with Special Teams Coordinator Joe DiCamillo. Some of the guys that will dress will not be in the NFL after this weekend, though. Some will make the roster here or elsewhere. And Special Teams has a big hand in guys getting their first opportunity to stick in the league. We caught up with Special Teams Coordinator Joe DiCamillo earlier this week. Your conversation presented by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
How difficult is this week when you're trying to pare down the last few spots here?
Yeah, it's difficult from a couple aspects. One, you want to make sure that you're making the right decision for the football team. It all has to work together. When you pick your final 53, it's not only about that, but it's about the final 46, because you only get 46 going into that first game. So, it all has to fit together. And then the second thing is you got to be respectful of the player. The players busted their tails here, from most of them from the offseason on, and I think it's a tough time. I know when I was with Coach Reeves and all the years I was with him, this was always the toughest time for the head coach, because he's got to make some decisions that impact people's lives.
When it comes down to the 4th preseason game, is there something a guy on the bubble can do to really take a step in this game, or is it pretty much solidified? How do you feel about the final preseason game here? So.
No, I think there are some guys that have made it on the final preseason game. There's been some guys I know that in my past anyway that were cut and came out with an unbelievable amount of stamina, played every play, and made some plays, and we decided to make a different decision. And then the other thing that you're playing for is the practice squad. You want to make sure that if you are released, there's a good possibility that you're still on the practice squad, and I think we have a number of guys that hopefully are in that same boat.
Joe DiCamillo with us, Special Teams Coordinator. You're always looking for those core 4 guys, right? I would think Lorente McCray is probably one of those guys. You've had him for a long time on your teams, but he can do a lot of things. He can play defensive end, he can play Sam linebacker if you need him to in a pinch, and he can play all the teams. And a guy like that is certainly valuable for your roster.
Oh, yeah. He's done a great job for us. I'm really glad to see he's playing more defense. He wanted an opportunity to be able to do that, and, because of circumstances with some of the players that have been injured, he was able to get on the field, and he's done a good job for us defensively. So that's going to add to his value. And I still think he's going to be a very valuable member of our special teams for sure.
Are those kind of guys are hard to find, though. They don't come around every day. I mean, you'd like to have as many of those guys as you can, but that's difficult to find, right?
Yeah, everybody's got a role on the roster. So you have to find where their role, is the most important for the roster. And, Larente's found that over the years. And, we're hoping that a couple of the other guys that we signed in the offseason fit that role also. Cody Davis and Niles come to mind right off the hand.
Yeah, a little more on Cody Davis and Niles Paul, the free agent guys you brought in. They've been in the league for a little bit now. But you feel like they can plug in pretty quickly here to this group and contribute right away, those guys.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the defense or the offense, but I think they've been productive at certain points during the preseason, So I think that, if they're productive offensive and defensive players, and then they also fill a big-time role for us, that's going to make us a better team.
How about motivating a younger guy, a rookie coming in? A lot of ways to make a football team is special teams, especially as a young, maybe an undrafted rookie. Any of those guys stood out to you? Anybody that you said, you know what, this guy has surprised me in camp and worked his way and has an opportunity at least here?
Yeah, rather than saying a specific number, I would say that's probably the biggest challenge right now is because guys really, most of them, haven't played in the kicking game in college, and until they see the way things fit, they really don't have an idea of how the roster is going to be made up. So they just think, okay, well, I'm going to spend all my time on defense, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm okay on teams. And a lot of guys wait until the last minute, and sometimes it's too late.
Kickoff rules. You were part of the process to get those in, but now in practice, in games, is it what you anticipated? Has that learning curve been as large as you thought?
Yes, I have. It's a lot more space for the kickoff team, for the kickoff return team, and then I think for the kickoff cover team, because of that, you don't have that same amount of run up. It definitely puts a real premium on direction and hang time if you're not knocking it out of the end zone. So, that I was not real happy about what we did against Atlanta. I didn't think we played as fast as we should on that particular team, so it's going to be an emphasis for sure.
Joe, appreciate your time, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Joe DiCamillo, special teams coordinator. He was here a couple of years in the late 2000s, has been around the league a bit, and now back for a couple of seasons here for the Jacksonville Jaguars on special teams. The Jaguars have announced the players not dressing tonight. Get your pencils and your scorecards ready because there are 34 players not dressing tonight, 18 of those on offense, starting with Blake Bortles. Wide receiver Dante Moncrief, D.D. Westbrook, D.J. Chark Jr., they're not dressing tonight. Running backs T.J. Yeldon, Leonard Fournette, and Corey Grant. None of those running backs will play. The starting offensive line plus some will not dress tonight. A.J. Cann, Brandon Linder, Andrew Norwell, Cam Robinson, Jeremy Parnell, and Tyler Shatley. None of those guys will dress. James O'Shaughnessy, Niles Paul, the tight ends. They're off to the side tonight. Wide receivers Keelan Cole and Jadon Mickens. Jadon Mickens not dressing, as you heard earlier with Jeff Loggeman and Tony Baselli. He was out there warming up early, getting a workout in, so that's a good sign for Jadon Mickens to make the team. And tight end Austin Safarian-Jenkins. Those are the offensive players not dressing tonight. And 16 more on defense.
Yeah, I was surprised when you didn't mention Keelan Cole with that first wave of wide receivers. I was listening for that name, and he did get mentioned. Here on defense, you'll be without cornerbacks Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye, Tyler Patman, so that makes him a mortal lock to make this team, as you should have suspected as he was running with the first team whenever Ramsey or Boye missed a preseason game. DJ Hayden also sitting out tonight. Your top three safeties, Barry Church, Deshaun Gibson, and Ronnie Harrison, will also be rested. Miles Jack, Telvin Smith, and Leon Jacobs, your prospective starting trio at linebacker, will all sit out tonight. Lorente McCray and Yannick Ngakoue listed as defensive ends. Calais Campbell's listed just as a defensive lineman because he's a guy who plays all over the place, along with Malik Jackson, Marcel Darius, and Avery Jones. So we will see Dante Fowler and Taven Bryan, but we kind of anticipated that one going in. So most of the frontline guys, pretty much all the frontline guys, taking a rest tonight, as it should be.
34 down tonight for the Jaguars in the preseason finale. It's time now for our weekly visit with Jaguars sideline reporter Rick Ballou. We call it Has Rick Lost It?
Ricky don't lose that. Ricky don't lose that. All right, you just heard all the scratches tonight. Guys aren't going to play, and it's for several reasons, most notably, though, injuries. And Jacksonville dealt with the big blow last Saturday night. That's Marquise Lee, a season ender with a knee surgery. Therefore, the conversation continues. How many preseason games should we have? Just a couple of days ago, Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys, said, here's an idea. Let's go from 16 to 18 regular season games. We'll eliminate the preseason from 4 to 2. All right, maybe that makes some sense. But then he said he believes it will lower the risk of injury. That makes no sense at all. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the more you play, the more of the chance that there is that you will get injured. Now, 2 years ago, I would have loved this idea. As a matter of fact, I think just about everyone out there listening would have loved that idea. But the NFL, they have continued to hammer us with information, data, post-concussion symptoms, CTE, the unfortunate situations where players have even taken their lives. It's really a complex situation to ask to play more games if you are going to have these couple of, or these real serious injuries. So, what is the perfect plan? Okay? Listen, look at the Jaguars so far this preseason. Drew Brees did not play in opening week. Brees was a no-show. Last week, Saturday night against Atlanta, you didn't have Devontae Freeman playing. You didn't have Julio Jones playing. The owners don't want to give up the game. That's money for them. They charge the same amount for season tickets, so they're not going to be a favorite of it. Here's what I want. Give me 2 preseason games and then a 16-game regular season the way that it has always been. However, what would the scenario be like for the Jaguars? What would you do if there were 2 preseason games? Would you play Blake 1 quarter in game 1? Would you play him a half? What if he doesn't play well? Do you play him in game 2 of the preseason? I mean, game 2 would be literally tonight's game 4. So that becomes a big issue as well. Hey, college football, they don't have any preseason. Typically, they open up with cupcakes because they don't want to lose on opening day, and any coach will tell you get better between week 1 and week 2. But we've seen that change. Look at all the marquee games this weekend in college football. So I ask, what is the best issue? What is the best answer to make this thing where we can all agree? Again, I believe there are more questions than answers. Or, JP, is it just football? And injuries has always been a part of the football game. Whether you go from 2 to 4 or 16 or 18, you're always going to have this problem.
Yeah, good question. Food for thought. Rick Ballou, sideline reporter. Rick, stick with us for a moment. I'm kind of with that it's football, and that Marquise Lee injury, I think, could have happened any week of the season if he's hit like that. I mean, low tackles happen all the time in the NFL, and I'm kind of surprised we don't see a little more of that sometimes.
Any week of the season, I agree with you, but you're not getting hit by your own teammates with a helmet on your knee in practice,
Correct.
So, you're not getting hit if you're standing on the sideline in week 3 of the preseason either.
Correct.
For that matter.
Good
so,
point.
Look, you can't avoid.
But you still need to get some work to get the offensive rhythm going and all that. That's some school of thought say you don't.
What? McVay out in L.A. says, no, these guys don't need work. It's much more important to protect them. Matt Nagy's a brand-new head coach in Chicago, says the 25 snaps we could get in week 3 of the preseason will have no bearing one way or the other, no matter how we play in those snaps, whether we win or lose opening week of the season. So there's a growing school of thought. It's not the majority yet, but I think it's heading in that direction.
How about, Rick, for the Bucs tonight? Is Jameis going? And he's out the first 3 weeks of the season, so he needs to get some time, or would you rest him?
Yeah, you know what? I've not heard as to whether or not Jameis Winston is playing. Everything I was told is that he would not give it a go tonight. Obviously, he's sitting out the first 3 weeks. Maybe get him a little bit of work. But Yoga's out there who's playing, defensively tonight for the Jags. The decision, from what I understand, is going to be to not play him. So that probably makes the most sense. And, we'll see what happens. Hopefully no injuries. Again, it's been raining here all day. It is just lightened up here moments ago. But nonetheless, the 4th and final preseason game upon us should be pretty interesting.
Very good. Rick, thanks a lot, man. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Rick Ballou, sideline reporter, Jaguars Radio Network. Will return on the Publix Tailgate Show with a visit with the Ozone. Jaguars.com senior writer John Ogier reports live from Tampa after typing up 34 names who will not dress tonight and putting them out on Twitter a moment ago. Jeff Lageman and Tony Vaselli are back with some final thoughts as well. Jaguars Radio Network coverage at 6:30 with countdown to kickoff. We're a little over an hour away from preseason week 4, the Jags and the Buccaneers. And from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, this is Jaguars Radio.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
At Papa John's, we like to say, better sausage, better beef, better bacon, better julienne-cut Canadian bacon, better pepperoni. Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium meats pizza made with 5 premium meats free of artificial flavors or fillers. Or our new barbecue meats pizza made with smoky Southern-style barbecue sauce for only $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Prices and participation may vary. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee extra.
Freak yeah, Jimmy John's.
Freak yeah, what if I just needed 1 sandwich delivered?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
What about 100 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
What about 24 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
67 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
You know, 67's a prime number.
Freak yeah, a whole number greater than one whose only factors are 1 in itself, I know.
Great. I'll take 1 turkey tom, please.
Freak yeah, 1 turkey tom, on the way.
Freaky fresh, freaky fast, Jimmy John's, freak yeah!
Brooks Rehabilitation is the official rehabilitation provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brooks offers rehabilitation services such as inpatient care, outpatient therapy, skilled nursing, home health, assisted living, and memory care. They also have a wide range of community programs, as well as a comprehensive pediatric program. Brooks offers high-quality care from their expert clinical team to help you meet your rehabilitation goals. To learn more, visit brooksrehab.org. That's brooksrehab.org.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we were...
This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway,
he scored!
This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate Show, the Jags and the Buccaneers at 7:30 down at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Coming up at TIAA Bank Field, though, Sunday, September 2nd, right around the corner, 3 p.m. start for the last of the Street Survivors Farewell Tour, the final Jacksonville show for Leonard Skinner. They'll be with Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Charlie Daniels Band, Marshall Tucker Band, and Blackberry Smoke. Tickets at Jaguars.com. And through Ticketmaster, the stage is being built as we speak, or earlier today. It's pouring rain right now in Jacksonville, but earlier today it was in the process of being constructed. They'll be ready to roll Sunday, and what a show that's going to be here at TIAA Bank Field. Let's head to Tampa for a visit with the Ozone.
The Ozone.
He loves Curtis Lowe. And he just typed a bunch of names who won't dress tonight. It's John Ozier, Jaguars.com senior writer. Hey, man, what's up?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can go on. I just passed Baselli outside in the press box, and no shock that he's eating. But his plate consisted of just one huge slab of beef.
He already ate one time, John.
Okay, well then that adds to it. There wasn't a vegetable in sight, not a garnish in sight. It was just this piece of beef smothered in sauce. He's going big, Jeff.
Yeah,
He's going big.
For a while there, he really was looking good, and he was on that program where he lost a bunch of weight, and he's like anti-program now.
I think he ate the doctor.
He's on the weight gain program.
Unreal.
Here he is, plate in hand.
my gosh. You're
and
eating again.
It's as I reported. Same plate, a couple of bites out. So, yeah, we, 34 guys, not dressing guys, and I think the news there that we all sort of thought is Jadon Mickens is one of those, which means he's on the roster as the fifth receiver in the punt return.
Well, you would think so. I mean, that's but you can't make that assumption completely. But
I think you can.
Oh, I tweeted it, so I'm making it.
Okay,
I'm with you, Johnny.
All right. Well, I'm not ready to make that
just
jump.
go back to your big slice of beef, Baselli.
But here's the thing: he is the best punt returner on the roster, and and here's the other thing: when given the opportunity in the offense last year, he made plays.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you even think about letting a guy like that go? So I mean, it makes sense that he makes it.
Well, to me, he was the best, and he's the one guy on the roster at punt returner who has shown that knack of cutting it up fast. There's a difference when you watch him return a punt than the other guys, and the other guys can do it, but he's the guy who's done it. I said all along I thought it was going to be hard for Tom Coughlin and company to cut a guy that they have seen do that for guys that they hadn't seen do that.
Do they keep 6 receivers or 5?
That's a great question.
I was leaning 6 all along, and now I think it's 5.
Yeah,
just because of numbers at other places.
I don't know.
Because I think they keep 10 offensive linemen.
10?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Who's your 10th?
Josh Walker.
Because he can play left tackle? Is that, I mean.
No. But I think they're going to keep him because I don't think my guess is they don't expect a lot out of Will Richardson Jr. and they're not going to cut him. He hasn't done a lot. I just think they're keeping 10 offensive linemen.
I mean, and they very well could. And if they do that, then they probably would go with 5 wide receivers. But I have a feeling it would be 6 wide receivers. And I think it's going to come down to Rashad Green and Wynn. I think Shane Wynn has a legitimate chance. Because when you look at both of those guys, neither of them are going to give you a whole lot on special teams.
Right.
They're pretty much wide receivers, and that's all they are. So I'm kind of making the case to not keep them right there, right? Because they can't contribute on special teams.
The other thing is you look at the overall roster because you have to look at other positions. I think they only end up with 3 running backs, and they'll keep 4 tight ends.
Well, that's a given.
3 running backs, including a fullback.
I think it's 3 running backs, and I think then it comes down to are you going to keep 4 tight ends, or are you going to keep 3 tight ends and a fullback?
No, my point is when I say 3 running backs, that's including the fullback position.
No.
You're going to have 3 running backs and 4 tight ends.
Well, Niles Paul isn't playing tonight, so
I'm just telling you.
O'Shaughnessy's not either, so you're probably looking at
Koyak staying and Niles Paul will be your fullback. They're going to play a lot of 12 personnel.
You think Koyak is a lock?
I think Koyak makes
absolutely not.
Okay, I'm just telling you.
I mean,
when you say absolutely not,
he's not a lock.
Right now we're doing radio. We're making assumptions of who we think is making the team. Is that what we're doing, John? Because I missed something.
What we're doing right now is we're delaying your meal. Is what we're doing right now.
Koyak is not a lock.
I didn't say. You're asking me who I think is going to make the team. I think they keep 3 running backs and 4 tight ends.
I think you used the term lock.
I think you said lock.
Yeah.
He's a lock. Okay, fine. He's a lock.
I think you need to start listening to what you're saying.
Okay,
slow down
let me say it again.
Pay attention to what you're saying.
He's a lock. Lock it down right now.
Go back to eating your beef.
I'm locking it.
Did you just say that Baselli needed to think about what he was saying? Why would he start now?
I don't know.
All right, JP.
That's unfair.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt there, fellas. This is that time of year, though. The running back, the tight end. I mean, do they dare stray away from a fullback here, guys?
I don't think I just don't think Bohannon makes the team
because they can go Niles Paul with that.
That's right. I do not think Bohannon makes the team.
Well, here's the honest truth from my eye. Okay,
honest truth.
When you watch Tommy Bohannon this year and you compare to what he was able to do last year, I don't know what's different. I just know that he's not as fast. And he's not as fluid this year.
Well, remember, he was injured in the offseason. He didn't work out the whole offseason.
That's my point, JP, is that I don't know if that is the reason why or not. I can just tell you that last year, when you watched him in competition with the rookie draft pick fullback from Miami, there was no doubt Tommy Bohannon was going to make the football team. And this year, he didn't have any competition at the fullback position, but the competition is coming from the tight end position, whether it's O'Shaughnessy or Niles Paul or Koyak, whoever it may be. The tight end position and the fullback position, they're somewhat interchangeable. And so the competition comes from that group, not just another fullback.
So why don't you tell us who's going to make the team? Because, I mean, who's –
I don't know. I think it comes down to Koyak or maybe Tommy Bohannon. Because Niles Paul is a lock.
Right.
He's a special teams player. O'Shaughnessy has had a very good preseason. He's been very good on special teams, and obviously Safarian Jenkins is a lock on this football team.
Right, those three are locks. O'Shaughnessy's not playing. I consider the 34 guys who aren't playing locks. So
now you're looking at Koyak,
right.
Or is it going to be Bohannon, or is it going to be Greenwich? But I think Greenwich hasn't shown enough, but I think he's in the conversation.
Right.
So we'll see.
How about on defense?
At the end of the day, I'll say one last thing.
Yeah.
They're keeping 4 tight ends. I just don't think Bohannon makes the team based on what he's done this preseason.
Defensively, not really too many surprises there of guys sitting tonight. Tyler Patman, though, is one of those players sitting tonight. Sounds like he's made the football team at corner.
Well, I thought he's been a lock, since day one. I thought Hayden, the two obvious corners, and Patman were no-brainers. I think Herndon's playing tonight, but I also think Herndon's a lock. I think those are your 5 corners.
And they're keeping 5 safeties.
I mean, where are you going to be weaker?
Only 5 linebackers.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, good. Here's the thing with safety: you got 5 guys that are legitimate.
But one of them is Cody Davis is a special teams player. They're not counting on him to get defensive snaps.
No, he's not going to get defensive snaps, but
he's too good at special teams to cut.
No, he's making the team.
Right.
Yeah, and Jared Wilson has had a really good preseason.
Absolutely.
He's taken a real nice step up. And, here's the thing. In the future, at some point, you may end up having Jared Wilson and Ronnie Harrison as your starting safeties. In the very near future, those 2 guys could be your starting safeties.
I think they probably draft next year for Wilson. But, yeah, I mean, linebacker. We talked about it yesterday, Jeff. What happens?
Well, I think Dave Caldwell has probably already made some phone calls to other teams and inquired about certain linebackers. The hard part about trying to find a linebacker for this team is that you need to have somebody that can really run. Because the linebackers in the Jaguars scheme, they're required to run with deep overs and such, and so you got to have guys that can really run. And the chances of finding a guy, off of waivers that can really run, it's not very high. So you're probably going to have to do it via trade if you're going to try to get a quality guy. And what are you going to give up for that?
Right.
Are you going to get up one of your offensive linemen that you feel pretty good about? Are you going to give up one of those safeties of Jared Wilson that you feel pretty good about? Or does Rashad Green have trade value because, he was a mid-round pick? There's a lot of teams that had probably a pretty good scouting report on him. He might have some trade value.
All right, guys.
Tony hasn't heard a word he's saying. He's thinking about this piece of beef.
There's still time to eat before kickoff. Thanks a lot, guys. Jeff Lageman, Tony Baselli, and yes, the Ozone, Jaguars.com senior writer John Oehser. Network coverage begins next with Countdown to Kickoff. Pete Prisco, Fred Taylor, Doug Marone, they're all within this next hour, and we're an hour away from preseason week 4 with the Jags and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. This is Jaguars Radio.